for another Here For It live segment, talking to one of our amazing members of Palette. This is Tiara Bonds. Welcome to the program, Tiara. It's good to see you.
Woo! Thank you for having me here, Catherine.
Awesome. I swear to you, I thought we did this already, but we've actually never done a Here For It live. I've only ever just eavesdropped and crashed your conversations with Marcella. So I'm happy we're doing this.
Yeah, but it feels like we've definitely had more contact and connection before. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just like the way the palette works. It's like once
Yes.
you know one of us, you know us all, and we all kind of
Yes.
like speak the same language and have the same vibe. So that's just really cool. I mean, in my opinion, about palette is like when you meet somebody that's also a member or part of the team, you're getting kind of like the same flavor.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And then the other members, talk and brag about each other. So
Yeah.
you learn it about people through other people.
Yeah, through the grapevine, through the palette grapevine. Well, tell
Yeah.
us a little more about you, and what exactly you do. I am obsessed with this topic, like talking about money and women is like one of my favorite things to do of all time. So tell us more about you.
Yes. Thank you. So I am Tiara Bonds. I started my company, Take Charge Credit Consulting, about 5 years ago. And off the top, I started a credit repair company because I was experiencing bad credit. So I knew that there was a need for it. I knew that my friends and family were going through the same thing, if not worse. And so I looked around for help. There's lots of credit repair companies out there, but I couldn't find one that I trusted. And then there was also, feelings of embarrassment and guilt and shame, all those negative emotions we have around finances in general. So I just did the research, learned about credit on my own, learned how to fix it and the laws that were in our favor to repair our credit, and then started Take Charge. Prior to that, I was at Department of Corrections. So I was there for 6 years. And then I did some like alcohol promotional type of brand ambassador work. So credit was kind of credit and money was like way different than my past, but I love what I do now. And I'm able to help people all throughout the States.
That's awesome. So kind of talk more about the stigmas, right? So like we don't want to talk about bad credit. We don't talk about, if we made poor decisions, I can kind of share like I have like worked credit to my advantage almost. Like I have like a very healthy relationship with debt. Some people definitely don't agree with that. They're like, some people are like, debt is horrible, bad. Don't ever take out loans or put things on a credit card. But I do have like this innate faith in myself and my, I don't know what it is that I'm gonna like bring it back like around kind of thing. So talk to us more about that, because I know that there are some people who are like would never take out a credit card, but you do have to have credit to get good credit, right? Or is that lie? Okay.
Yes, you do. I think the lie is that you have to have debt to have good credit. And that's not true. But you do need to use credit cards. Having credit cards is about 65% of your score, 35% from just paying it on time, and then another 30% is based on how you use credit. So what I hear a lot is people don't want credit cards or they steer away from them because they don't want debt. However, you can use credit cards and get all of those advantages without it being debt. So if you're paying your bill in full, every statement, then it's not considered debt. But I one thing that I kind of want to normalize when we talk about the stigma of credit is it's totally fine to get a student loan and go to school and to get a job to work for someone else. But it's frowned upon when, like you say, we use personal credit to invest in ourselves or invest in our business. And that's something that I want to switch around, because it shouldn't be looked down upon. And often it can be more beneficial to invest in a business than, get debt from a student loan. So,
well, if you ever need somebody to testify that this is like, I'm here for you, because I mean, I have, family members, I have, friends who have gone to, one in particular went to grad school, went to undergrad, went to grad school, went to law school, right? Like, so this is like racking up all the student loans. and,
yeah.
and does not do anything in any one of the fields that she went to school for. I think she like works at a bakery or a retail store now. So it's like, and these loan payments are just, and like, I'm not talking about loan payments that are being forgiven now or any of that other BS. I'm talking about like up until this point, it's totally fine to get absorbent amounts of student debt. But the moment
Yes.
I go out and say, I'm going to, borrow against something, borrow against my house to open up this business, people are like, what are you doing?
Whoa.
So a lot of times people don't talk about it. They don't talk about the real risks that they've taken to better themselves or their businesses, and again, making sure that you're getting like the return on the investment on yourself.
Exactly. And that's something that is, part of my mission is to change, so that we can have these conversations and normalize it.
So what are, like, when someone comes to you, I want to just kind of like point out that, just how approachable you are and amazing you are. And so like, and non-judgmental, like you literally, this is what you do for a living. So you're talking to people about bad credit all day and you're getting them out of it. Like you do see results there. And this is the other thing that I think is important for people to know, that like there is hope and there is a way to turn these things around. It doesn't matter how bad your credit is. There is like, you can help them.
Yes. Yeah. And I think most people don't know that it's credit repair is even possible. They, think that they're kind of stuck in this situation. And one thing that I like to say on live calls is and this is the exact thing that I thought. So I had bad credit. I knew that there was things that were being reported to my credit. And my first idea was just to go figure out how to get this money from somewhere and then just go pay it off. But the thing about credit is once you have negative accounts like collections or charge-offs on your credit report, paying them will not help your credit score. So that's something that I like to share. But then people just don't know the other options. So credit repair and being able to dispute those accounts with the credit bureaus, that requires them to report 100% accurate information, and they don't. So first, I think the first step is for people to know that there are other options. And then another reason I created Take Charge was to be that kind of safe place for people to go to, that resource that they could have and come release all of the shame and the guilt and all of that. I try to be very relatable with new clients, so I think that's an important part of the process, and knowing that there is a way out.
Yeah. And so you do all this for your clients. You advocate for them. You create a roadmap, and like what is the process and how long does it usually take? Like, I mean, can people put themselves out of their misery, their negative credit, stigma and just attitudes towards it? Like, does that happen in a year? Is it 5 years? Like, what is, or does it depend?
It does depend. It depends on the credit profile. The credit bureaus are the ones ultimately removing the negative accounts. And that's the biggest part of my program is the repair. So I'm doing all of that, the disputing with the credit bureaus and the collection agencies and the creditors, to take that worry off of the client. And then the other part of it is the rebuilding. So for some people, that's getting their first credit card, because again, a lot of my clients have steered away from credit cards out of fear. For some people, it's paying down the credit card balances that they do have, figuring out if a balance transfer is the right option. Some people, it's adding an installment account, whatever it is on the rebuilding side. I'll let them know what that is. And then with that, the repair and the rebuilding, it's typically about a 6 to 9 month process. But again, it
That's
depends.
not bad. That's really not bad. I mean, I'm thinking like worst case scenario is like 5 years later, you're out of the but you're saying like within a year you can like and the other piece that I just think is important to point out is like to take action, right? There's like stop
Yes.
kind of like ruminating in this like crappy feeling that you have around credit, around debt, around money. It's like you have to turn around that mindset and find somebody who's going to help you, who's going to, advocate for you and get the hell out of that rut.
Yes. Hashtag take charge.
Yes, hashtag take charge. So what would you say is the number one like thing, like people have bad credit because like there are some people who just don't even have credit cards and they have bad credit. So in that situation, you really are just working on the building it, right? You're not necessarily working on rectifying any bad choices, but like what is the main thing that you find clients are coming to you and you're like, here we go again, and you must sometimes get frustrated, right? With you're like, oh my God, if I could just get a hold of this person before, these decisions
Yes.
are made.
Yes. A lot of times it's medical. It's
Oh,
medical debt that, the client thought their insurance was taken care of. They didn't know that they had a balance due. I just had one, and this law is changing. They're not able to report certain types of medical debt to your credit report anymore, but I just saw one for $36. And so the impacts that collection has on their credit report, their score could have went down, 100 or more points from one debt. The balance doesn't matter for collections and charge-offs. It's just the fact that it's a collection or a charge-off. And so, these companies sending something to a collection agency for $36, knowing the impact that this is going to have on someone's credit report, it really, really makes me angry.
yeah. And let
But
me
those,
guess. And let me guess. I'm just going to put this out there that
yeah,
like you're seeing this bad credit tends to be with people of color, the BIPAC community. I mean, is that me speaking out of line? Is
yes.
it an assumption or
No,
what? Okay.
that's not out of line at all. I have clients from all Black, white, all different backgrounds. But when you look at the statistics on credit, yes, the average credit score for a person of color is about 670, whereas the average credit score for a white person is about 730. And I wrote an article about this. So that's about a 60-point credit score difference, but the impacts that has on the amount that you're able to get approved for your home, the interest rate, which affects your monthly payment, and then the overall interest. For an example that I did, the lower credit score was paying $76,000 more over the 30. Yep, with
Wow.
those two differences, and the only difference being the credit score.
Yeah, I mean, and this
Yeah.
is just like it's like a ripple effect, right? So like that's why
Yes,
a lot of BIPAC people don't own their homes. It keeps them from a lot of things that
correct.
and I think maybe some people are tired of hearing about that, but I'm not tired of talking about it.
Thank
So
you, Catherine. We've got to keep talking about it and thinking about ideas of what can we do to change this? What can we? And in the article I wrote, I was just giving information, and the editor said, "Well, what can we do about this? Do you have anything like a program? How can people help?" Which was a very good question, Sarah. If you're listening to this, thank you for that, because I then started a sponsorship program, so people who are in a position to help can pay for other people's credit repair, kind of like a scholarship. So,
oh my God, I love that. That's like the Shiro Fund at Pallet. We have people who contact us all the time who want to join, and we're like, and they're like, we don't have the money. And I was like, I don't think that should be an issue. That shouldn't be a reason why you don't
yeah,
get the help that you need to advance yourself and to surround yourself with people who are gonna, hold your hand and help you through it. And I'm talking
right.
like business stuff. I'm talking life stuff. I mean, like things do come out. I mean, and it hurts. It kills me that like the medical stuff, is
Mm-hmm.
is what can hold people back, like, and just and literally not take out their lives, but like take completely impact and change their lives because because they're not able to pay for certain things. So yeah, like I could talk to you about this like all day.
All day.
I think it's so important for us to continue talking about it. Financial literacy is not something that we should stop learning in the second grade, or the third grade. I think it's like a lot of times, I don't know, growing up is like, oh yeah, we're having a little financial literacy course for, the second graders. And it's like, that's cute. But like when I was like in 12th grade, when I was, in college, I needed to have financial literacy, support. I'm very grateful.
Yes.
My parents got me a credit card when I was a freshman in college, and I only made a couple of bad decisions. But I had them to help me and teach me a lesson and help build that credit from an early age. So I just think those are things that I do not take for granted, and have positioned me in a way to have a good relationship with debt. I think that's the other piece of it is like,
Yes.
I remember being in college and some people were like, oh my God, you have a credit card? Like what? It's like, yeah, well, you got to pay it off every month. You got to pay it off. And I remember my dad would just drill that into me. Like, don't you dare pay a minimum payment, So
Yes.
it's just like these things that have stuck with me, and I think have contributed me to having like a healthy relationship with debt. Debt can be good. Debt can be really good. It can allow you to do amazing, incredible things. You gotta stay on top of it.
Yes, you got to use it responsibly, for sure. But the impacts that it can have, like I said, so, some people, me, myself, I wouldn't have been able to make it this far in business without having credit to invest in my business and grow it. So, and for some people, that's just the reality. There's not investors knocking down on their door trying to give them money to start their business, and they don't have anything in savings.
Yeah, and even when that is the case, it's not always the best thing to do.
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
Like, it's all debt in my head. It's all debt. And who do you want to owe? Yourself? Do you want to owe somebody else? Do you want to,
Yeah.
I mean, again, that could go on a whole nother tangent, but I think a lot of times, and I would go to say, and maybe you correct me if I'm being inappropriate or wrong, but in middle class communities, blue collar workers, BIPOC communities, that is actually more prevalent to borrow somebody's money or to borrow Aunt Susie's money, and like it's more. I think that's more prevalent than going and getting a credit card or going to the bank and getting a loan. It's like people are more comfortable taking somebody else's money and then, like, I don't know, being tied to them forever, and like a little dangling something over your head, like with all that comes at a cost too.
For sure. When you can just do you want to be have more control over it, or do you want to have that feeling of owing someone? Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, I mean, there must be some research out there that kind of like goes. I mean, I just, in my own like upbringing, it was like go to Aunt so and so first before you go and get. I don't know. Like, that's like maybe like whole nother conversation, but it's like asking people for help doesn't have to necessarily be asking for money. It could be asking for advice, and it could be like, help me go to the bank and actually get a loan that's gonna make sense and apply to my credit versus borrowing money from Aunt Susie doesn't impact your credit score.
Right. And then the people who don't
until she reports you to the wait, can Aunt Susie answer me this? Can Aunt Susie report you to the credit bureau?
Aunt Susie cannot.
Okay.
See? She has to be a creditor, and then some creditors can do it themselves, and then some go through a collection agency. So Aunt Susie could start a collection agency, and then maybe
maybe that is how she'll get her money back. I don't know.
That's funny.
What is that saying? You don't lend money to family members. You just give it away with no expectation that you're going to get it back.
Yeah, because chances are you're probably not getting it back. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I hope we didn't go too off on a tangent. I think it's all applicable to what you do and how you're helping people. But what is the best way to get a hold of you? And is it just go to takechargecc.com?
Yes, that would be a really good spot. Or if you just want to like connect on a business to business pilot member level, LinkedIn. So just Tiara Bonds on LinkedIn.
Okay.
There's an old one that I can't get deleted, but you'll be able to see which one is the
You
correct one.
you can fix people's credit score, but you can't
I
contact
can't.
LinkedIn.
Exactly.
Well, there's somebody else that helps with that, I'm sure. I don't know if you know
Yes.
Miranda Von Fricken, but she's a member of Palette. I don't know if you've come across her yet, but she is like the LinkedIn queen. So if there's something you
Yes,
have to get
I
fixed,
have her on LinkedIn, but we need to connect, one-on-one,
yes.
Miranda. If you're
I don't
listening.
know. Yes, yes, definitely. She will help you delete that rogue LinkedIn profile. And until then, if
Perfect.
anyone is trying to get in touch with Tiara, you can connect with her through Palette. You can connect with her LinkedIn, the actual LinkedIn profile that's hers. Go to her website. There's videos there. I mean, there's so much. What is so great about you is that you do educate and you do put a lot of information out into the world for people to just to educate themselves and to get more knowledgeable and literate when it comes to finances and there is a path forward and it's
Yes.
through you. They have to contact you to take charge.
Take charge. Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, of course. And we'll have to see you soon. We were taking the Hereford Live on the roads. I was in Houston and in New Orleans. And so wherever you land, whether you're in Seattle or Atlanta
Yeah,
or Arizona,
Arizona.
just keep us posted. Let us know, and maybe we'll do an in person, real life interview.
Yes, yes, we will definitely need to make that happen.
Yes. All right. Cool. Well, have a
Awesome.
good rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon.